Okay, now this video is going to be my top 10 saves for year 4. You'll notice the intersection's a little fucking small. I don't know why I cannot get it bigger than that. I've tried enlarging it, it just won't work. We're going to use the 30 carbine again for cars and trucks. Looks like a fucking Godzilla movie. We're going to use the 45 for myself. And we're going to use the 40 for other people. Hold on, my list over here. My list is on the desk, excuse me. Now, several things happened this year that were amazing. My buddy, who I saved like 3 years in a row, did not require any saving this year. She's on her way to high school. She's done. And I did not save anyone's life in May. Repeat, I did not save anyone's life in May. Now, at number 10, there's some men crossing the street this way in the afternoon, and I'm on this sidewalk over here, I think. Now there's a woman who's parked along here, and the light is red. She's in a car, and with the red light she pulls away from the curb and comes directly towards these men. And I ran from the sidewalk. Don't forget, these are grown men. They don't require an escort, so when they come by, I'm allowed to stay on the sidewalk. I don't have to go hold their hand like that. But when this woman came darting out like a fucking bat out of hell, I actually ran out and ran in front of these men and stopped her and started hollering at her like a fucking animal. Like, what the hell? Like, she ran a fucking red light and everything, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, thanks, boss. Yeah, they love me. Number 9 was... Number 1 happened on Tuesday, June 7th. Number 9 happened that Friday. There's a car coming around the corner, and she is not paying any attention where she's going. And I'm in the middle of the road here. I'm coming out. I have my 6th grader who lives across the street, and this car is not stopping. And I have the sign out, and I have my arm blocking her to keep her at bay. I am not allowed to retreat. She almost crashed her car into the sign and broke my hand. She wasn't paying any attention where she's going, and when she saw that was going on, she stopped. I started hollering at her, and she almost started crying. And I actually felt bad for her, but my sympathy does not extend to me letting you run my kids over. Sorry. Now, number 8, I felt bad for as a dumbass. There's a car coming this way. Now, what happened was a woman with the baby carriage was here, and she kept on walking. I'm at the corner. This woman kept on walking down, and then she stood here and faced out. Now, I've actually thought that she's already walked down the block instead of she's went across the street. Woman comes in her car, turns, makes a sharp turn, ends up here, like that, on that side of the WL line. Baby carriage steps out in front of her simultaneously, and I jump in front of them. Woman in the car went off on a fucking rail at me, how fucking retarded I am, blah, 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 fuck you, cross man, blah, blah, blah. Well, I did not know this woman was here because she walked too far down, but at the same fucking token, you're on the other side of the WL line. And I felt guilty about it, and from now on, when I got a baby carriage coming through, I stare at that baby carriage until the baby carriage is out of sight, to make sure there's no crossing this way and running across. Okay, number 7. There were these, I'm going from 10 to 1. There were these days where we had to work 3 shifts. Half the schools had half day, half the schools had full day. And because I had little babies on both sides, I had to come in for 3 shifts. I'm standing here, and there's a guy who does deliveries. He like takes the hand truck and goes back and forth between stores. Very nice guy. He's there, just hanging out, not bothering nobody. There's a woman. Now there's a cab driver making a turn here, and there's a woman here. Cab makes a left turn on a red light and comes straight for the woman. I take off like a bat out of hell and block him. And man, was I friggin' screaming. Holy shit, was I screaming. Running the red light, fucking animals these people are. Cabs, buses, they're just fucking crazy. Now, we're actually going to go away from my little masterpiece sketch over here for number 6. At the top, I traced over this. At the top of the hill, on this same side, the right side, whatever. At the top of the hill, we had a problem. This is past the hill. This is a wall of the building across the street. This is the sidewalk here where you go into the street. The area that I have a straight line by is a thin layer of ice on the concrete. Can't tell how slippery it is. The big mound I have here, the scribble scrabble bullshit here, is a mountain of snow. Now there was a little bit of ice here. Now this is what I had to do. I had to go up here, walk very slowly to step around the ice, press against the building. There's a gate here where people can go in the back to dump their garbage, to wait for garbage day. And on garbage day, the superintendent would put all the garbage on the road. By the way, there's all garbage over here too on top of it. There's like garbage next to this. There's a thin layer of ice plus garbage bags, so we ain't getting by here. These are the garbage bags, this blob here. This is the thin layer of ice. This is the mountain of snow. I had to move across against the wall, go up, and if they were going up the hill, I had to push them up. If they were coming down the hill, I had to meet them and grab them and drag them down. Hold on to them and shit. And I actually wrote down in real, when it happened, all the shit that I did. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I had one with a 3-year-old son. I told her to hug the wall of the building and climb the ice. Then one of my 8th grade girls, who normally comes a different direction, had spent the night at her aunt's and came down. This girl's about 5'7". She's an adult body. I had to grab her, run up the hill, grab her, pull her to the wall, hold her shoulder, move her down. And the entire rest of the morning I had both sections going up and down. I had one woman with a tray of coffee, the tray you get the McDonald's with 4 coffees coming down. I had one woman pick her stroll up and hand to on the other side of the ice. That freaked me out. I had a fucking heart attack then. I had one girl coming down, and as I'm waiting for her, I slipped and fall like an animal, like a fucking nitwit, just fell right down on my face. Had to go up, pick her up. I had a girl and her grandmother. I mean, I was people all day, entire families, 3 kids, 6 kids, pushing them against the wall. I had one kid, he's a little kid with glasses on. He slips and falls, and before his face hits the concrete, I grab him by the backpack, pick him up, and say, "Not on my watch," and shove him over the fucking wall. I had one of my grandmothers coming. I pushed her granddaughter over. Granddaughter's like 12. I pushed the granddaughter. The granddaughter has, you ever see the bag of wheels they bring to the fucking airport? I picked that up. I spin to get grandma. I fall backwards, and before I bang my head, grandma hooks her arm and picks me up. Grandma. Go grandma, right? I mean, back all day, this big mountain of snow. I know, fucking, but just all day back and forth, like 50 people. Some guys wanted to be cute and walk over the ice. I had to grab them and shove them to me. It's a fucking nightmare. Yeah. Okay. There's one girl, I have brother and sister from one of the schools which is up the block from me. They get off the bus. They're staying here on the corner with their brother, his friend, their older brother, his friend, not, mind their own business, blah, blah, blah. There's a girl here, high school girl. She's mostly on her own. High school guys are mostly on their own. Car runs the red light. The car comes around close to the curb, runs the red light, girl's in the middle of the road. I run in the middle of the road, I get face to face with her, and then I freeze. I'm like, should I push her against the sidewalk or should I pull her towards me? But I fucking froze like a dumbass. But the car stopped. I eventually got her out of the way. The car kept on going. And the kids are here stunned. The older brother and his friend like, whoa, they just kept on fucking going. But I just ran in front of the car and it's so fucking dumb. Yeah, I'm shaking a lot today. This give me a fucking headache, this video. I'm reading my Cliff Notes here. Okay, a woman was over here in the afternoon. Truck is coming around the corner. I push right away before she loses her feet. Then a few weeks before that in the morning, now this day I remember. This was March 4th. There's a woman with a baby carriage and a walking child over here. Girl's about me 8 years old. This I remember being March 4th, which is around Nancy Reagan's anniversary, and it was something that I accomplished. It was the last thing that I accomplished in her lifetime because this was a Friday, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it. On Sunday, she went home. Okay. Truck is coming along, and the truck is gonna hit the curb. I tell the little girl to move back, tell her mother and baby carriage to move back. Then the truck comes where both her feet would have been. She would have lost both her feet. Okay. I had a girl. She was born a month before I was hired. Her sister is going to be a 10th grader this year. Her brother is going to be a 9th grader this year. Therefore, I am no longer responsible for them. But I do have to watch her and when her mother comes through with her. But now, what I do is I have to leave at 4 o'clock. And I stand in the corner here. And at 4 o'clock, I just turn my head and look around to make sure there's no little kids, elderly, no one that I need to be careful for coming by. If there's a whole bunch of adults, I leave the scene. If there's one little kid, I stay for 2 minutes. And as I turn, I see the mother, the little daughter, and the daughter's friend, or her friend's daughter, whatever, same age, coming out of one store, going into another store. I see this as I turn my head. And my sixth sense tells me, stay. Don't leave. Wait for them. So I'm waiting like 5 minutes, and I'm over here. They're going to come across the road here and go home. Now, there's a car here. Now, this little motherfucker I saw earlier in the day, I wanted to fucking punch him in the face. He drove away. I have a woman with a baby carriage here. I'm standing here, baby carriage here. And I actually said, should I go over to that baby carriage that's coming down the block? And I said, no, wait here. I'm waiting here. Baby carriage is here. This motherfucker, car's in front of him. He doesn't want to wait for the red light. I see him shift his whole body. And I scream for this woman to jump out of the way. This fucking guy blew through the red light at 50 miles, and knocked myself over here, at 50 miles an hour, and came here. He would have paralyzed that woman and killed that fucking baby at least. And if I went home at a regular scheduled time, I would have been in the car, starting the engine up, leaving the area, and I wouldn't have seen it. I would have got home, they would have called me, they would have found out what time the accident happened. I wouldn't have been responsible for it because it happened at 4 or 5, but, you know, God had me where he needed me, didn't he? The first is not going to be on here. The first is the heart attack victim. I'm going to put a link to the full video. It was a 20-minute ordeal. Man had a heart attack, crashed his car. Civilians called for backup. I went into the hospital. Security guard and paramedics refused to help me. I broke the windows open. Fire department came. I'm gonna put that link down below for that video. I apologize that this thing was so small. It's normally a lot bigger. I apologize. My bum hand was shaking a little bit. For that, I'm deeply sorry. But, you know, 2 more lives saved, more feet saved. You know what I mean? Typical year. Okay, thank you.